G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Linux Mint 20.3. It's been a long time since I've checked out Linux Mint and always as usual I do the cinnamon version. We're going to be having a look at the install on VirtualBox, but I'm going to check out the final product on real hardware. I haven't installed that yet, just want to do the install and then we'll catch up on the real hardware after that. Just thought I'd share with you a couple of things I've seen. Seems to be a bit of a problem with EFI in VirtualBox at the moment. So what I'm going to do here is on the system I've got EFI, but on the display I've noticed that I've already installed this on VirtualBox, but I've deleted it and I'm starting again. So on install, VM-svga seems to work pretty well, but after install I switched it to VBox-VGA, otherwise it wasn't booting. Sometimes it may, sometimes it may not. It's just really weird at the moment, EFI on VirtualBox. So let's go OK on that one. So hopefully this doesn't make a liar out of me, so let's check this out. Okay, so it's booting, that's a good thing. Alright, so let's see what displays we can get here. 1920 by 1080 is not available, I'm pretty sure. So we'll go with 1440 by 900. That'll do for the install. Yep, let's keep that. Okay, so let's install the system. English for me. Keyboard English US is always my choice. I'm going to install multimedia codecs. Now we can erase disk and install Linux Mint. We can go to advanced features and we can use logical volume management. Encrypt the new Linux Mint installation for security. You can do that. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to erase disk and install Linux Mint. So let's install now. And it's going to make one ESP partition for booting. On a GPT, you need a ESP partition to boot. And then we got an ext4, which will be the root drive where Linux will be installed. So let's continue that. Australia Perth is my location. My name, I'm going to be using PCTLC on this one. Keep it as VirtualBox, keep that username PCTLC. Choose a password. And it's a fair password. Now you can name that computer anything you like. So your name can be capitalized, lower cases, mixed, whatever, same with the computer's name, but the username has to be all lowercase. So I'm going to require my password to log in and continue that, and off we go. And that is the installation complete. We shall restart now. So let's do that. Make sure our disk ISO is removed, which it is. So we can press enter and we're done. Log into the system. The usual check your video drivers on a Cinnamon desktop. And if we go to display, you'll probably find that we still don't have 1920 by 1080. So there's no guest editions installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the system, and what I'm going to do is go to the settings and change display to VBox-VGA. Now that normally works for most distros without having the guest editions installed. Now you can see the difference. I haven't even adjusted the resolution and it's already gone to full screen on the login screen. So straight off the bat you can see they've got some rounded corners here on each side, but at the bottom they're still square. And like they said, the title bars are bigger, so the buttons are bigger. I like that. And the bottom's still got pointy corners, as you can see. So I won't bother going through the first steps. We'll do that on real hardware. So I'm going to shut this down. So that is the Linux Mint installation complete. I'd prefer to carry the rest of this within real hardware, so I'm going to do that. So what we're going to do is shut this one down, and I will see you on the desktop of real hardware. Here we are on the desktop of Linux Mint 20.3. So we're just running through the first steps. You can choose brightness or dark mode, I believe. There we go, dark mode. Traditional panel or modern panel, which I think it's already on. You can choose to set up snapshots, driver manager, update manager, system settings, software manager, firewall. Got some documentation, some help here, web forums, IRC chat room, and you can contribute. So back to the first steps, system snapshots. I probably wouldn't do that until everything's up to date. Same with driver manager. So you'd probably go to update manager. I would have thought update manager would be the first thing on the list, maybe. And then again, if you do a system snapshot before updating, just in case updates go pear-shaped, but I doubt it very much. You got your software manager there. So we do have updates there in the corner here. So I'm going to do it that way instead of going through the welcome screen. So let's do that. We can come back to that. So welcome to the update manager, and it's got a little red dot there on the shield, as you can see. So what we're going to do is click on that. Welcome to the Update Manager. This tool provides your operating system with software and security updates. Linux Mint recommends to set up automated system snapshots and to apply all available updates. Okay. A new version of the Update Manager is available, so let's apply that update first. So the Update Manager has been updated. Now, do you want to switch to a local mirror? Yes, I would always suggest doing this prior to installing your updates. So let's click on yes. Click on the first one. Choose the fastest mirror that comes up. Any one of these top two are normally my fastest mirrors. On VirtualBox, this was faster than this one. Today on this real hardware, this one is faster. So I'm going to click that one. And we'll do the second one here. And that's probably as good as that'll get. So I'm going to select Internode, which is my internet provider anyway. And then your configurations change, so click OK to refresh mirrors. And that has been done. We can now close that and we can install updates. That's the first thing we're going to do. So let's click OK on that. And that is the update complete. It's suggesting to do a reboot, so I will do that and come back. So let's close that and we shall come back after a reboot. And here we are back in the desktop of Linux Mint after a full update and an upgrade. We can now go back to our first steps. I've done my dark mode, modern panel. Now system snapshots, I normally don't use system snapshots. Now I think I've only got in here, let's have a look at system monitor, file systems. This is only a 120 gig SSD. So not a lot to play with. And resources, let's just check that out real quick. We're using 1.2 gigabytes of memory. CPU's up around about an average of 20%. So let's check HTOP. Now I'm going to install HTOP. Now you could do that through software. So let's open software real quick. And you can probably find HTOP in software. So this is our software center for Linux Mint. Let's have a look and see if HTOP is available in the software center. And there's HTOP there, so it is available. So you can either install it from the software center. You've also got Synaptic Package Manager that you could use. Now, if you was to click on this and install it through software and click install, what that's going to do, if you're a new user to Linux, that'll run this command, sudo apt install HTOP. It's the same thing. So I'm going to do it through here. And that's all it would do in the background if you click install in the software. So let's just clear the screen and let's run HTOP. Let's see what HTOP is reporting. We're running 1010 megabytes and CPU's average 20%. So it's gone down in memory. I think it was 1.2 on the resource on the system info. HTOP. It seems to be reporting consistently with the CPU usage, and the memory is slightly lower. And yes, I am recording, and that's why that CPU usage is up high, because of the recording. Not sure if that affects the memory too much, probably does. Here we go, CPU, simple screen recorder. Yeah, so that's why it's up so high. So let's close that. Let's just check out quickly system snapshots. So the best one to use is rsync, because we're not using Btrfs. So under the help, it just tells you a little bit about how snapshots work. You can pause that and have a read. So if we go next, it's going to go through the process. It's estimating system size at the moment. I don't normally do this, to be honest, but there you go. It's made a snapshot of the system, and then we click finish. So now it's active. And I think if we go to settings, schedule, don't know if I would want to do 5 daily. What's that say? Number of snapshots to keep. Older snapshots will be removed once this limit is exceeded. I'd probably do weekly, and I'd probably keep it on 3. Sounds okay. So let's do that. And let's just quickly go back to system info. Let's go back to our system monitor, have a look at file systems, time shift. So it's got available 108 now. Okay, so that's the scenario there for snapshots. Driver manager, let's launch that. I shouldn't have any drivers in here because they should all be supported out of the box with the kernel, because this is all AMD, I believe. We can suss that out by running system info. System info, your computer does not need any additional drivers. There you go. So let's have a look. Graphics card is an AMD ATI Cape Verde Pro Radeon. And that's my system info there, and Intel Core i5-3330. So I did have a 2 terabyte hard drive on this, but I'm using that for my Plex. So that's all okay. Update manager we have already done from here. And system settings, you can launch that, take you to system settings, and the same as here. And software, you can launch that as well from here, which is the same as here. So that's the first steps out of the way. And if we open that welcome screen back up again, I think I've done everything now within the first steps. I would check this off because I don't want this opening up again once it starts up, but you can access that at any time searching for welcome, and there you go. So I'm going to access my data drive, my network data drive through FTP. So let's do that. And it's good to see that that works. So what I might do with that one is right click on that and add to bookmark. So that'll bookmark that. So whenever I eject it, it's still available. So what is new? Like we looked at in VirtualBox, we have rounded corners up the top, bigger title bar and bigger buttons. So I don't know whether we can change that. Let's check that out. If we was to go to Mint X, yeah, well that's not exactly, oh actually I know why that's doing that. So whatever we choose, this is how all the GTK stuff is working in Cinnamon at the moment. If we choose Mint X here, we must choose Mint X here for that to work. So let's try Mint X. All right, so is that what Linux Mint looked like before? I thought it had the other buttons, like the bigger buttons now. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was just that. I cannot remember now, but you can see how small that is. So now if we was to put it back on Mint Y, now you got bigger title bars. So there's the difference there. And then we can put that back on Mint Y Dark. There we go. And then you can change the bottom as well. It's on Mint Y Dark. Let's leave it at that. Now the other thing they've got in here is something called Thingy. A new thing called Thingy, but they call it Thingy, but it's actually comes up as library. And no documents found about. It's called Thingy. So if it's called Thingy, I don't know why. This is what bugs me sometimes about Linux at certain times. They name something, but then in the menu they give it another name. So then you struggle to find these things. So it says here you can add documents by opening them or by marking them as favorites. So if I was to open, so what I've done is I've downloaded some documents, some PDF documents, some Chinese horoscopes that I've had for many years, never bothered to delete them. So that's good, it comes in handy. So we look at this Chinese horoscope thing here, that's probably the whole lot of them. But then we can look at the dog. Let's close that. So now if we went to library, you'll probably have those two in there. So it starts making a list of what you've been using. I don't know how you add to favorites. Right click. You can move to trash. You can't right click anywhere in the window, only on anything that's been opened. So you can add to favorites, open containing folder, open, move to trash. So that's how that works. You got the LibreOffice connected somehow there as well. So if I was to open something else in, let's go back one. I've got one under this folder. It's just something that we used at school. It's an absent form. That's going back many years. My kids are no longer at school. Let's have a look. So now that's popped up in here as well. And I've got another one, which is transfer of car details here. Vehicle transfer. That's all blank. And that comes up in here as well. So that's how that all works. You can move to trash, add to favorites. So that's all pretty cool. So it actually produces a library of all your PDFs, which is very handy indeed in one place. So you don't have to go back searching through all your files and folders. And what I like about this is it only adds them as they're opened. So if you need to access something again, instead of looking all the way through your documents and which folder it's in, you can just come here and find it. So I think that's a very handy little tool. Now apparently now Celluloid, let's go to sound and video. Celluloid is now in dark mode by default, and so is Hypnotics is in dark mode by default, and so is the image viewer. Pix, that's in dark mode as well. Now I believe if I change this back to, let's have a look and change this back to Mint Y Light. There we go. These are still on dark mode. If we open our folder up, everything else is in, what else have we got? Drawing, that's in light mode later. So these are by default in dark mode, all of them. Let's go back to Mint Y Dark. The calendar now shows events. Maybe I'll try and sync that with online accounts. I can try that. And as you can see, with all these dots here, they're all the birthdays I have synced on Gmail, and that's just working brilliantly. So that's a really great idea. The New Year's Day, and these are coming up with all the birthdays I've got synced to Gmail. They're coming up as well after putting in my Gmail account with online accounts, so that's working all good. I won't show you the birthdays. Family may not be happy with me sharing birthdays with everybody online. They've also got the Gnome Calendar in here as well. That's the Gnome Calendar, and that shows all the birthdays as well. So apparently Move and Copy now gives you an option to rename an existing file with the same name instead of skip or overwrite. So let's cut that back into here because there's a file named the same thing. So now we can replace this with, we can duplicate, we can replace it, we can skip, we can cancel. So it gives us the option, duplicate. So it's made a copy of that. So that's how that works. The run dialog has new styling, so there's the run dialog there. I'm not quite sure what it looked like before, but that's what it looks like now. Animations have been tuned and simplified, and it looks like they'll be introducing a new version of Mutter Window Manager. Also, the effects have been streamlined a bit more. It's all, apparently, I think this was in maybe 2 tabs or 2 windows or something. It's all now in the one place. Cinnamon panel applets gain additional configuration options. For example, workspace switcher can disable scrolling to change workspace. So let's put, applets. Let's add an applet in there, workspace switcher. Let's add that. So there's the workspace switcher there, and apparently it has a configuration. So you've got the scroll wheel behavior, which apparently wasn't there before, and you've got simple buttons, a visual representation of the workplaces. You've got simple buttons like so, or representation there like so. So apparently a lot of the applets have been given configuration options. The calendar as well. There's also configurations in the window list, I believe. If we go to preferences and configure, you can configure these buttons here, I believe. Button label can be none, application name, like so. Window title only for the focus window. Let's go none. Thumbnails, so there's a whole heap of options for that as well. Context menu. Notes, the new sticky notes here has got has options for bold, toggle bullets, italic. I think we have to highlight that maybe. Italic, bold, header. So you need to highlight it to be able to do that, except for the toggle bullets, toggle checklist, untoggle toggle checklist. Oh, there we go. So you got a box, you can check it off. Okay. So it's got all these new options, and I believe you can change colors as well. Add a new note, delete the note, yes. And I believe it has a search function as well. Search, so if you've got a lot of notes, you can search for a particular note. Let's delete the note, yes. I believe Hypnotics gains a channel search feature. I'm not sure what that's all about. So you've got all these channels here. It's pretty handy, search feature. I'm not quite sure. I've used this a few times, but I'm not sure about the search feature. It also said that Image Viewer can fit images to the width or the height. I'm not really sure what that means. Z Text Editor, you can Control Tab to switch. So the Control Tab in Text Editor can switch tabs like so. Control Tab. Z and X Reader have the option to hide the menu bar. And if you press the Alt key, the menu bar will come back like so. Just pressing the Alt key can hide and show the menu bar. Gives you more real estate. That's in Z and also the Document Reader, X Reader. Document Viewer, I believe is the same. Alt key. No, View, menu bar, Alt key. So this one, the Alt key doesn't hide and show, it only shows it back again. So you can hide it and show it. Yeah, seems to be a slight bug there, I think. There's new wallpapers, so let's check that out. Wallpapers are always good in Linux Mint. Change desktop background. And we're on Una, so that's the wallpapers for Linux Mint there. Just enough, not too many. And you also have the option of some of the previous releases. to go through as well if you wish. To look for your favorite wallpaper. You can press Alt, Super and S to turn on screen reader. Let's do that. I don't know, I'm pressing Alt, Super and S, but this happened in VirtualBox, then it started working. So I don't know what the deal is with that. If we go to keyboard, shortcuts, turn on screen reader, Alt, Super, S, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to be work. It's a bit hit and miss, that one. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Support for 3x fractional scaling. I'd have to think that's in display somewhere. Display, settings, enable fractional scaling. It probably won't work on mine, but that's all good. The option is there if you need it. So let's open up Firefox and let's see what version this is first of all. 95.1. Now I have to say, since my last video of Linux Mint, they have done some work on their website and it is absolutely beautiful the way they've done the website up. And that's only just clicked over to 20.3 I think today, maybe late last night for me, I'm not sure. Let's go to their blog, 20.3, just a couple of things that I probably can't show you. So this web page is just continuously jumping back to the top. I don't know why. So most important thing to note here, I think, is window animations were reviewed, tuned and simplified. This was done within the scope of an upcoming Mutter rebase, which will land in a future version of Cinnamon and provide even better effects. So that's awesome. And then you've got these other improvements down here as well. Some of them I'm not really sure what they are, but you can pause and have a read if you wish. Okay, so we're back on my main system, Pop OS. That was Linux Mint. Thought I'd jump onto my web browser just to make sure that this thing's working all right. Don't know why, but it was just jumping back up to the top in Linux Mint using Firefox. Not sure what that was all about. So anyway, I really love this new website of Linux Mint. It's a beautiful website, so much more modern than the older one. It's really good. And to download the latest, you can just download from here. And then you've got the latest version, other versions. You got Linux Mint Debian Edition and all other versions here. So this one here was 20.3 beta, which is now changed to the long-term support, officially released long-term support. And then you got some older ones here that you can run through. It goes from 19 down to 4. Yeah, so great job on the website Linux Mint. That looks really awesome. So that was Linux Mint 20.3 Una. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And if it's not, I'll blame it on my Aussie accent. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.